Every single day, without your permission, without your knowledge, and without any warning whatsoever, your brain deletes memories. Not old ones. Not ones you've forgotten about. Fresh ones. Things that happened this morning. Conversations you had an hour ago. And the terrifying part is that you will never know what you lost, because the moment a memory is erased, your brain fills the gap with something it invented. You are, right now, walking around with a version of your life that is partially fiction. And science has known this for decades. Welcome to MindAtlas. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear is going to change the way you see everything. Let's start at the very foundation of this, because most people think of memory like a recording device. You experience something, the brain saves it, and when you want it back, you press play. That is one of the most dangerous misconceptions in all of neuroscience. Memory is not a recording. It is a reconstruction. Every single time you remember something, your brain is rebuilding that memory from scratch using fragments, assumptions, and emotional states. And every single time you do that, the memory changes slightly. This means the more you remember something, the less accurate it becomes. The stories you've told 100 times at dinner parties, the childhood memories you cherish most deeply, the moment you fell in love, statistically, these are your most corrupted memories. The things you've revisited the most are the things that have been rebuilt, distorted, and subtly rewritten the most times. This phenomenon has a name. Researchers call it memory reconsolidation, and it was considered controversial when scientists first proposed it. Now it's accepted science. Every time your brain retrieves a memory, it becomes temporarily unstable, like a wet piece of clay. New information, new emotions, and even just the mood you're in can reshape that memory before it's stored again. You're not remembering the event. You're remembering the last time you remembered it, and the time before that. Layers upon layers of quiet distortion stacked on top of what actually happened. But let's go deeper, because it gets darker. There's something called the misinformation effect, first demonstrated by psychologist Elizabeth Loftus in the 1970s, and her findings are genuinely disturbing. Loftus showed participants footage of a car accident and then asked them a simple question with a small but deliberate change in wording. Some people were asked how fast the cars were going when they hit each other. Others were asked how fast they were going when they smashed into each other. That one word, smashed instead of hit, caused people to remember the accident as significantly more violent than it was. Some even remembered seeing broken glass in the footage that was never there. One word, one tiny linguistic choice, and the brain invented evidence to match it. Now take that principle and scale it up to your entire life. Every conversation you've had where someone told you how something went. Every news story you consumed after an event you experienced. Every time a friend said, "Remember when?" and filled in details you didn't actually remember. All of it has been quietly, invisibly editing the footage in your mind. The people in your life are rewriting your memories, and they don't even know they're doing it. Here's where it gets truly unsettling. False memories aren't just possible. They're easy to implant. In a series of experiments, researchers convinced a significant percentage of participants that they had experienced events that never happened. Things like being lost in a shopping mall as a child, getting their hand caught in a mousetrap, even meeting Bugs Bunny at Disneyland, which is impossible because Bugs Bunny is a Warner Brothers character. But the participants didn't just acknowledge these events. They elaborated on them. They added sensory details. They described their emotions. They defended the memories when questioned. Their brains had built entirely fictional experiences and filed them under real. And the people experiencing them had absolutely no idea. Think about what this means for eyewitness testimony. Think about what it means for childhood trauma. Think about what it means for every argument you've ever had where you were completely certain about what happened. Your certainty is not evidence of accuracy. The confidence you feel when recalling a memory has almost no relationship with whether that memory is correct. Almost none. Your brain doesn't flag false memories with a warning. There's no asterisk, no slight visual blur, no nagging doubt. A false memory feels exactly like a real one. Sometimes it feels more real, more vivid, more emotionally charged, because the brain tends to construct emotionally resonant versions of events to help them stick. And speaking of things that stick, let's talk about something called the Google effect, because this one affects every single person watching this right now. When we know that information is stored somewhere we can access later, our brains deprioritize storing it ourselves. Studies have shown that people have worse recall for information they believe is saved digitally. When you take a photo of something instead of looking at it, you remember it less. When you write a note on your phone, your brain begins the process of offloading that memory before you've even finished typing. We've outsourced our minds to our devices, and our devices have accepted the transfer. The question is, what happens to a brain that stops being asked to remember things? What happens to a muscle that stops being used? Here's the part that doesn't make it into textbooks. Your brain isn't just passively forgetting things. It's actively motivated to forget. There is a neurological process researchers have identified where the brain deliberately suppresses certain memories, particularly ones that create internal contradiction or emotional discomfort. If you have a belief about yourself, a story you tell about who you are, your brain will quietly minimize or delete memories that conflict with that story. It is maintaining a narrative. It is protecting a character. And that character is you. Which means everything you believe about yourself is being curated by a system that has a vested interest in keeping that belief intact. Your brain is not an objective historian of your life. It is a loyal editor. This has been documented in something called motivated forgetting, and it explains so many things that previously felt mysterious about human behavior. Why people stay in relationships that are clearly wrong for them. Why people repeat the same mistakes. Why abusers rarely remember their abuse the way victims do. Why entire generations can share a cultural memory of a historical event that historians can prove happened very differently. We aren't lying. We aren't being deliberately ignorant. Our brains are doing what they were built to do, which is construct a survivable version of reality. And here's the coldest fact in all of this. The memories you trust the most, the ones attached to the strongest emotions, the ones you've carried since childhood, the ones that shaped who you are statistically the most likely to be inaccurate. High emotion during encoding can actually distort the accuracy of what gets stored. Trauma doesn't always create photographic recall. Sometimes it creates a shattered, scrambled, emotionally overwhelming snapshot that the brain then spends years trying to reassemble into something coherent. The coherent version it arrives at may bear very little resemblance to the original. So what do you do with this? The honest answer is that there's no way to switch this off. There's no mode you can enter where your brain suddenly becomes an accurate recording device. What you can do is hold your own certainty more loosely. Approach your own memories the way a good detective approaches a witness statement, with interest, with care, but without blind trust. What you remember is real to you. That matters. But it may not be the whole picture, and it may not be accurate. The mind is not a vault. It is not a library. It is not a hard drive. It is a living, breathing, constantly rewriting story that has been editing itself since the day you were born, quietly reshaping the past to serve the present, erasing the parts that don't fit, and filling the gaps with something that feels true even when it isn't. You are not who you remember being. And the world is not what you remember it being. The mystery of memory is that it may be the most intimate thing we possess, and it is also the thing we understand the least and control the least and can trust the least. If this pulled the ground out from under you a little, that means it did exactly what it was supposed to do. The MindAtlas channel exists for exactly this. The unsettling truths hiding inside the science of the human mind. There's so much more where this came from. Subscribe right now and join a community of people who aren't afraid to look at the strange, dark, extraordinary territory inside their own heads. New content drops regularly, and you do not want the algorithm deciding whether you find it. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you in the dark.